לשון וכל שמחה, כל חתן וכל כלה, כל מצלות חתנים וחופתם, ונעלים משנה נבינתם.
בואי בשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהולה, תוך אמונה.
Searching for a husband can be one of the most challenging things in our life. It's to see if AI could figure out how to match a boy and a girl up. Confidence is you don't run after anyone. You are assured that Hashem will take care of me. Thank you for coming. It's a very big miracle that I'm here. I'll tell you the story. I get a phone call from a cousin in London who tells me that we have a cousin in Panama. I didn't know. My family's Talgam, Cohen. And he tells me that I have a cousin named Joey Talgam in Panama. So I said to my cousin in London, Tion, I'll call him if you're on the phone. I'll introduce myself. I'll tell him what I do. He says, Dad, Jack, you should go to Panama. So that was February. And then he saw what I do. And he then recommended me to Ezra Cohen. And that's how I'm here. But a little background about myself. So I was born in Cairo, Egypt. My father's family came from Syria, Aleppo. You're Egyptian? Oh, okay, terrific. So my father's family went, huh?
But really, Joey is my mom's cousin, brother. First cousin.
Right, exactly. So the family went from Syria to Yerushalayim, to Buenos Aires, and then my grandfather went to Egypt, where I was born. We moved to New York, where I grew up in the Syrian community. I went to Yeshiva University High School. I loved it. I then went to NYU and Harvard for undergraduate studies. I went to NYU Medical School. I became an orthopedic surgeon. I was a team doctor for the Olympic Games for the United States government in 1984 for the United States Olympics. I came back to New York to start a practice in sports medicine and foot surgery. I probably did 20,000 surgeries. Come in, don't be embarrassed. I probably did 20,000 surgeries in my life. And also, so when I was 12 years old, we were very lucky that one of the greatest rabbis in America moved into our area. And he became my rabbi and he taught me a lot. His name was Avigdor Miller. Very famous rabbi. He was Gadol Hador. He was one of number 4, number 5 in the world. He taught me a lot about what I do now. So I decided that I'm going to be a doctor 1 to 8, and I'm going to teach boys who are coming home from Israel in the morning, because I loved Torah, I enjoyed it, I was very good at it. And many of the boys came to me after class, Chumash class, Navi class, Gemara class. I'm going out. What should I do? Is she the right girl? Is she the wrong girl? Help me. I had no answers for them. Zero. I started to read on the subject. We're going back now 35 years, maybe 38 years. And I slowly became very good at it. Can you come to my chuppah? Can you be the Misadeh Kedushin? 5, 10, 15, 20, 100, 200, 500, 1,000. I'm already holding by 1,600 shidduchim, I think, at this point. And in addition to being a doctor, so I gave classes in dating, just as a volunteer for the community. I moved to Miami Beach in 2001, 2002, and I wanted to take my medical practice to Florida. But that's what I thought I was going for. Someone heard me speak and said, we need you in the University of Miami. So every Wednesday night, I came, with blood on my shirts from surgery. I said, I'm giving a shiur tonight. And all the people were not religious. Nobody. And they had one mission in mind, by the way. This is exactly what happens in New York, by the way. All the girls come and the guys don't show up. Because you know how it is, it's fine. By the way, I'm going to give you guys secrets that you're going to walk out of here saying you learned a lot tonight. Because I deal with the guys all day. So anyway, where was I?
On your shirt. You were doing the speech in Miami.
Right. So in Miami, excellent, thank you. So in Miami, they wanted a dugmat hayim, a living example of someone who can be religious, but still be an academic person, a lawyer, a doctor, accountant. So they used to have a program, people like me, or lawyers or accountants, come and show them it's okay to be religious, believe in God, and still have a good practice, a good profession. And that was a very successful program. Every Friday night, Shabbat, hundreds of people came to my house for Shabbat, to experience Shabbat for the first time. Many people met and got married through my classes. So after being in Miami 7 years, I bought a house in Miami, and I had my house in New York. And I was wondering, why is the government not giving me permission to build in Miami? Because they will have hurricanes all the time, and they require a lot of special permits and all that. So I called the Tasha Rebbe, who was a really big tzaddik in Montreal. I said, Rebbe, ma kore po? What's going on? He goes, it's over for you. You need to go back to New York now to worry about your own children, because I have 7. The first 3 were girls, and I didn't like what was going on in Miami. There was a certain type of boy that I wanted for my girls. I wanted a nice, good Sephardic boy for my boy, Ben Torah, somebody who was accomplished, even if he's working, I don't care, but good values. Anyway, I moved back. And when I moved back, I was going to get ready to go back into medicine when I started a class called Wednesday Night Dating with Dr. Jack, but in Touro College. I packed house. Every Wednesday night you came, I give a shiur on dating and this dinner, catered dinner. And people came. One day, somebody comes with a camera, says, can I tape you? So I said, sure, go ahead, tape me. The next day he puts it on Torah Anytime. A week later, I'm getting emails from all over the world, Sweden, Hong Kong, Australia, Los Angeles, you have to help me. This dating problem, that problem. I said, and it was like, I think this is my second profession now. And I have a calling over here. And this just mushroomed. And today, I have about 600 classes of dating only on Torah Anytime. I have hundreds and hundreds of YouTubes. I write every week in New York for newspapers on dating. If there's a question on dating, the media calls me. So that's how I ended up in Netflix. Baruch Hashem. Well, Elisa Ben Shalom is a good friend of mine for many, many years. Anyway, I'm happy you came. Let me just have fun and teach you guys. By the way, you're all welcome to record me. I strongly recommend you should record me, because what you're going to learn tonight is Shaveh Milyonim. What's going on in the world. I spend 12 p.m. to 1:30, 2 o'clock every morning with single people. I'm not embarrassed to tell you, I wake up 9 o'clock in the morning and I go to Minyan at 10 o'clock because I don't go to bed before 2 o'clock. I sit and I listen to people's stories all night, all day. So I'm going to tell you what's going on, and I hear from all over the world. So you're going to hear what's happening. Okay. Should I settle? It's a joke. A girl is 22 years old. She's ready to go into shidduchim. So let's hear what she wants in a guy. Number 1, handsome. Number 2, charming. By the way, stop me if I'm too fast or you don't understand anything. Just raise your hand and I'll explain. Number 3, he should have kesef, flus, right? Financially successful. A good listener, smart. He should be in good shape, not fat. Dresses in style. He is romantic. Oh, she doesn't get married. She's 32 years old now. Let's hear her list now. What's her list like? Well, here's what I want. Nice looking, maybe he has hair on his head. 2, he opens the car door. He has enough money for dinner. He laughs at my jokes. He owns at least 1 tie. He appreciates a good home-cooked meal. He remembers my birthday and he listens. Well, she's still too picky. How old is she now? 42. What's her list like? Not ugly. Bald head is okay. He doesn't drive the car until I get in the car. He has a job. He's in good enough shape to rearrange the furniture. He wears a shirt that covers his stomach. He remembers to put the toilet seat down. And he shaves. Now she's 52, still not married. What's her list? Huh?
No list anymore.
You're almost at the punchline. List at 52. He doesn't burp in public. He doesn't borrow money. He doesn't fall asleep when I'm talking to him. He doesn't say the same joke too many times. He wears matching socks. He remembers my name. And he shaves on some weekends. She's still too picky, and now she's 62. Let's hear her list. He doesn't scare away children. He doesn't require a lot of money. He only snores when he's sleeping. He's in good enough shape to stand up by himself. He only can eat soft food because he doesn't have teeth anymore. He remembers that it's the weekend. Revised list 72. One thing. Is he breathing? Is he alive? Okay, let's go. So, searching for a husband can be one of the most challenging things in our life. To complicate it, we have the fantasies that Walt Disney gives us. You know, Prince Cinderella, he's going to come and take me away. And sometimes we get upset. What am I doing wrong? How should I date? Should I date with my head or should I date with my heart? And one of the things I'm going to tell you now very clearly is we Jews, we date with our heads. We'll explain that today. So if we ask someone, why do you think you're not married yet? And they'll tell you, well, I just didn't meet my bashert or my soulmate, or in Arabic, my nasib yet. But if I could show you something that maybe you're doing wrong, would you be interested in knowing? You would say, absolutely yes. Maybe there's an obstacle that's getting in the way. You have to understand who you are and what your needs are. What do you want in a man? Do you want a guy that works? Or do you want a guy that learns? Do you want a funny guy? Do you want a quiet guy? Do you want a guy that's generous? Which is important. By the way, if I teach you one thing tonight, please remember this. This is what I taught my daughters. These are the rules. When it comes to a girl, 3 things are non-negotiable. Kamsan, kasan, kaptan. Stay away from an angry man, stay away from a cheap man, and stay away from a man who's not flexible. These are the 3 red flags. Be careful. Kasan, kamsan, and kaptan. That's important. So you have to understand your needs. So when people come to me in New York or call me, I say to them, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make a top 10 list of what you need to make you happy. Once we make that list, then you know what to look for. So when you go on a date, you know exactly what to do. You're looking for your list. Now, you don't need all 10 things on the list. You need, I'm going to explain it to you. These are outside of the 10. Physically attractive. He doesn't have to be a model from GQ, but he has to be attractive to you, not to your friends. I told them a story today to the Midrashah. I went to speak in Los Angeles because the owner of the Mall of America, or American Dreams, asked me to go there. He's a Persian. And you know, Los Angeles is called Terangeles, Persian. Anyway, the host was a rabbi who was picking me up from Los Angeles International Airport, and he looked very, very depressed. I said, Moshe, what happened? He tells me, I'm working on a shidduch for a year. We're up to date 16, and he dropped the girl today. I said, what happened? He said to me, you won't believe it. He's getting ready to give her the ring, and he shows her picture to his cousin. And his cousin looks at him and says, Yoni, you're going to marry her? She's so ugly. Ugh. He dropped her. This is when we don't think, when we act. You have to know what you need, not what's going to make your friends happy. They don't care about you. That's called the yenta trap, because you're embarrassed from the yentas. Yenta is a Yiddish word for talkie, ba'alei lashon hara. You understand? So you need what you need. Don't let anyone else decide for you what you need. Once you have a list, you have a direction. You have hadracha. You have a goal. You know where you're going with this. Okay? Now, there's a difference between a need and a want. A want is, has an apartment in Miami Beach, goes to Israel for Sukkot. He's 6'3". I'll give you a want. Listen to this. I met a fantastic guy from Los Angeles, Ashkenaz guy. Most of my work, I'm Sephardi. 98% of my work is with the Ashkenaz world in America. Very little Sephardim. I understand the Sephardim, I know them, but because the Ashkenazim are very analytical, their mind works with what I do very well. Understand? So I met a guy in a Shabbaton. In America, we have lots of Shabbatons. Single Shabbatons. Every second week. If I want to be away, I can be away every second Shabbat the whole year. I just can't because I have little children at home. But I have a Shabbaton 2 weeks from now, which I think is a great idea for Panama, and I told the rabbi. You should do Shabbatons. You should do Friday night Shabbat dinner, and you should have a special speaker, and then, Shabbat morning, Kiddush, just for the singles. And then, what's a Shabbat? You bring an entertainer, somebody comedy, or some. I had a Shabbaton in Baltimore. They built 100 bikes. Groups of 4 or 5 boys and girls, and then they gave them all the way to Tzedakah. But they had fun with it. Anyway, so, give me a second. Yeah, so that's the key. So you have to know what you need. A want is something that's not important. That's more like what society's trying to tell you. Money, looks, that's not what's important. What's important is midot. So, let's say I'm a girl. Let's give you an example of what's a top 10 list for a girl. Again, physical attraction is non-negotiable. 2, Yirat Shamayim. Does he make fun of all types of Jews? I hate Hasidim, I hate Temanim, I hate Ashkenazim, I hate Faradim. I don't know. That's the kind of person that, in my opinion, has no Yirat Shamayim. You understand? So that's non-negotiable. Now let's talk about the top 10 list. Again, so the first 3 we covered. No anger, because anger is Gehinam. He's generous, not Kamtzan, and not Kapdan. He's like, he's flexible. If you ask him for something, no, it's my way. We'd have a problem. Next, we have wants children. Family is very important. Emotionally healthy. How many people do I deal with that have bipolar, that have borderline personality disorder, that have ADD, I just got a phone call from a lady in Denver. Do you deal with people who have ADD? I have ADD. Autism. There's all types of stuff today. You have to search for that. You understand? As a matter of fact, I have a great girl. Great. She's mid-40s. Moroccan girl, very special, but she has bipolar. She forgot to take her medicine on Yom Kippur. She should have taken her medicine. She didn't take her medicine. She went crazy. Hatzalah came. They put her in handcuffs. Took her to the hospital. Her husband divorced her. He said, I'm done. I don't want to be dealing with this anymore. I'm helping her. It's a chesed. I want to help her. So I'm trying to help her. So one of my clients, you understand Yiddish a little bit, was Red the Shidduch. You know what Red the Shidduch means? He was suggested to her. It's Ashkenaz term. Anyway, so he calls me up and he says, I heard, my name is on a lot of people's dating resumes. So people call me all the time. What can you tell me about this person or that person? So I said, she's a nice girl, but I need to tell you, she has bipolar. So she calls me up 5 minutes later. Is it true you told somebody I have bipolar? I said, yes, because his wife that he divorced also had bipolar, and I'm not sending him into another marriage like that. You understand? It's not fair to him. So those are the things you want to look out for. Dependable, honest, simchat chayim, very important. Do you want to marry someone who's depressed? You want to spend all your life with someone who sees the world as it's going to rain every day? No. That's important. Has a parnasah plan. Whoa, what's he doing to make a living? That's important. What's his parnasah plan? He doesn't have to make money right now, but I want to see that he's on a derech to make money. He's in a master's program. He's in university. He's serious. He's not playing games. I had a Syrian girl who was my student for many years. Her husband got up out of bed every day, 2 in the afternoon. Never went to work. It took me 2.5 years to get her a get. I said, why'd you do that? Well, everybody in my high school got married, so I was the last one not married. You just run to get married without checking the guy out? You have to be careful. Does he have a Panama plan? It's important. And we're going to get into other things coming up tonight. Okay, now, there's a woman in Israel who's an American woman who wrote the book on Shmirat Negiah. She was not religious at all. Her name is Gila Mandelson. She went to Israel, and Gila was invited to a religious wedding. And somebody said, shh, the Hatan and Kala never touched. What, are you crazy? She's wearing jeans. What are you talking about? How could a boy and girl not touch? No, they never touched. That got her thinking, maybe I should explore my roots as a Jew. And she became Hozeret B'Tshuva. And now she's going to get engaged to a boy who's going to learn in Kolel and Ish HaTorah in Yerushalayim. So Reb Noach Weinberg, who was Zichron Levracha, who was the Rosh HaYeshiva of Ish HaTorah, invites her. Listen to what happens. Very interesting. I'm going to read you her diary. Avraham was going to propose to me, my future fiancé. But he said, before I do that, I have to take you to my Rebbe, which is, by the way, every time I think of something, I want to tell you something. It's so important to have a boy who has a Rebbe. If he has a Rebbe, he has direction. If he has a Rebbe, when there's a problem in the marriage, the Rebbe will get involved and save it. I had a Moroccan girl from the 5 towns come to me. She was 7 months married. She married a good boy from Mir Yeshiva in Israel. And this guy was a good learner. They got married, and he used to learn 2 hours a day. Well, the 2 hours became an hour and a half, an hour, half hour, 15 minutes, no more minyan, no more learning. She said, should I divorce him? I said, not so fast. Does he have a Rebbe? Go talk to him now. So I sent her to the Rebbe. He saved the marriage. He got on his student and he told him, Yallah, get going, what's going on with you? So a Rebbe is very important. Or a mentor, it doesn't have to be a Rebbe, but a mentor, somebody he looks up to, somebody he would be embarrassed of. That's important. So he tells her, this Gila Mandelson, before he can, the guy she's going out with, before I can propose to you an engagement, my Rebbe needs to meet you. I remember when I was going out with my wife, I said to her, it was 34 years ago, I said, it's June, it's New York, we're going to see the Gadol Hador right now, Rav Igdal Miller, my Rebbe. And if he says yes, you're in. If not, goodbye. That's it. So he met her, he liked her a lot. I had 2 people that I was very close to, and they both like oil and water. One was Rav Igdal Miller, who was Ashkenaz, but I was extremely close to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who I loved very much. I used to go to visit him a lot. And he also gave me a huge beracha that it was the right one. So I always felt good because I had tzaddikim backing me up, or rabbis. That's important. So anyway, she says, my fiancé leads me into the Rosh Yeshiva's office. A rabbi was sitting behind the desk, and he says to me, Shalom Aleichem, you must be Gila. How are you? So they're talking about life. Where are you from? What are you studying? And she says, I feel like I'm making a great impression with the Rosh HaYeshiva. So he says to me, tell me, Gila, what's love? Maze ahava? Could you explain to me what love is? She's, no problem, I got this. She says, she tells him, love is the feeling you have when you have the feeling. She says, oi, he thinks I'm an idiot. She says, I don't even know what love is. And she says to herself, love is not a feeling, because a feeling comes and feeling goes. What's love? How do you understand what love is? Let me tell you what she writes. Love is more than a feeling. While physical attraction is important because that's what starts the connection, the physical attraction is the gift that Hashem gave us that lights the match to get us interested. Then the real work begins to see if we have a connection through communication. We're going to talk about that tonight. Good communication. But physical attraction alone can lead you to a terrible guy. A guy who's an abuser, a guy who's not nice, and totally wrong for you. So she says, I came to learn it's not about physical attraction. It's about character. It's about values. It's about hashkafa. Hashkafa comes from the word mishkafayim, glasses. Love is not a boy and girl looking at each other. Love is a boy and girl looking out in the same direction. You guys understand that? Do we want the same things in life? Children, religious home, good values, kashrut, halchot nidah. These are the important things of life. Do we believe in all that stuff? You know, I had a case, Sephardi doctor 2 weeks ago, and the girl was half Sephardi, half Ashkenaz. And he wanted more. He wanted her to be, you know, like him. You know, he's not heavy, but he's orthodox. I said to her, tell me your Shabbat schedule. Do you use an elevator? Yes. Do you use a telephone? Yes. I said, Yoni, you have a problem here. You have very different values. And they ended up breaking up. You have to be careful. You have to align. If you're not aligning, you're going to have a problem. I have a couple in Las Vegas that I work with. She walks 2 miles on Shabbat to shul. He's washing his car. Oh, Kiddush time. He gets in the car to drive to go enjoy the Kiddush. And they fight all the time. Big shalom bayit issues. So you have to make sure that the religious level aligns. And you don't, we'll get into it later, you don't marry potential. Well, you know, his father's a rabbi, even though he's off the derech, but he'll come back one day. Shtuyot. Don't buy any of that stuff. In English, we say, what you see is what you get. Not what he was, not what he will be. You have to be on the same level together now. Okay, so she says, what is love? Well, the Rosh Yeshiva explained to her what love is. Love is the attachment that comes between a man and a woman when you appreciate the goodness of each other, that you are impressed by their values. Kindness, consideration, compassion, chesed, respect. So what are the mistakes, by the way, thank you for the water. What are the mistakes people are making today? I don't know what the divorce rate is in Panama. It's 65% in America, which is terrible. So with the divorce rate 60%, listen to the 10 mistakes that most people are making that's leading to divorce. You want to listen good. Number one, like I said, you pick the wrong husband or wife because you expect the person to change. Wrong. Never marry someone's future. If you can't be happy with the person the way they are now, don't marry them. Number two, you pick the wrong person because you focus on physical attraction. Another big mistake. Let's see if I'm going to have something to share with you. There's a book in America called Men Are From the Moon and Women Are From Venus. John Gray. He's a guy. He was a psychologist in Hollywood for the stars. Very famous guy. He says, many women came to me with the same complaint that are movie stars in Hollywood and told me that their husbands are not sexually attracted to them. And I said, how could it be? These women are drop dead gorgeous. How could their husbands not be attracted to them? And then I said, he thought about it and he said, I understood it. They only got married because of physical attraction, physical chemistry. And he came to the conclusion, when chemistry of the body is not combined with chemistry of the soul, with chemistry of the heart, there's no future. We're going to talk about tonight how we can develop that chemistry. Okay, let's go. Number three, you picked the wrong guy because the man doesn't understand what a woman needs most. I'm sorry to the two guys that are here, but this is a tochicha against the guys. There's a concept in dating called, in Shalom Bayit, called makom rishon, first place. And a woman needs attention. That's very important. And a woman who doesn't get attention and doesn't feel like she's makom rishon, we have a crisis. That's the problem. So we need to get a guy that gives you quality attention. Number four, you choose the wrong person because you don't share common life goals. You have to know what your values are now. It's like you're driving a car. You know where you're going? You know exactly where you're going when you're driving the car. You want someone sitting next to you who's the occupant in the next chair who's going in the same direction. Because if you're not going in the same direction, you're going to grow apart after marriage. So understand what your goals are and what your values, and find someone who shares the same wishes as you. Next. I'm scared to talk about this one. You choose the wrong person because you get physically involved too quickly. I don't even want to go there. All I'm going to tell you is that you don't have to test drive the car to see if it works. Of all the studies done on divorce, problems in the bedroom are never the reason why people get divorced. Okay, next. You pick the wrong person because they're trying to control you. I was on a podcast in America called Headlines. It's one of the biggest podcasts in the world for the Jewish people. And they asked me, what do you think is causing broken engagements? And I explained to them some of the problems. And I told them a story of a girl who got engaged, and she brought the boy for Shabbat after the engagement to meet her parents. And the boy controlled the girl. Don't talk to your mother on the Shabbat table. He didn't let her do anything. That's a controlling behavior. Let me explain something to you. There's a big difference between controlling and making a suggestion. Controlling is for his benefit. Suggestion is for your benefit. Sometimes people tell you something because they care about you and they love you. Is it for you or is it for him? So be careful of that. Next. You pick the wrong person because you don't put everything on the table. Mazeh. When you're going out, if there's something that's bothering you, you must discuss it with the guy. How many times do I deal with divorced girls? I said, you didn't see this problem when you were dating? Yeah, but I figured it would go away. Bad mistake. Discuss it. I love when problems come up in dating because I want to see how the boy and girl work it out. If they can negotiate and compromise and fix the problem, that's a great siman. They're going to have a great future. So if something comes up in the dating relationship, see if you can talk it out, discuss it, negotiate, compromise. Next. You pick the wrong person because you use dating or marriage to escape from your personal problems. If you have an emotional problem, if you have an insecurity issue, you need therapy for something. Don't just say, oh, I want to get married and get out of my house and marriage will solve all my problems. Marriage will not solve your problems. Marriage will make your problems 10 times worse. If there's something that's you need to work on in therapy, do it. Don't be embarrassed. Get the help that you need and go into your marriage healthy, emotionally healthy. You understand? Don't think that you're going to run into marriage and marriage will solve the problem. Almost every therapist says if you walk into marriage with a problem, it'll become 10 times worse. Marriage will only blow up the problem even more. And then lastly, you pick the wrong person because that person is involved in a triangle. What's a triangle? Well, a straight line is 2 points. A triangle is 3 points. A triangle means, or triangulated means in English, that person has something else going on in his life in addition to you. He likes his mother too much. He's addicted to pornography. Big problem today. He's addicted to work. He's addicted to gambling. He's addicted to sports. You're never going to be his most important concern. I'll give you an example. A Hasidic girl came to me in New York who was married 3 weeks. What happened? The night of the chuppah, good wedding, they go into the hotel. He's on the phone with his mother for 4 hours in the hotel. Oh, we have a serious problem. I said, Nechama, you didn't check him out? Well, you know, we did 3 or 4 dates and that's it, done. Problem. You know, so that's triangulated. I don't think we're going to work on perfection. Okay. I brought a list with me of words that you could use for your top 10 list. I can always send it to you. By the way, I'm delighted and happy to answer questions from anyone. So I'm going to give you my phone number, because people call me all the time, or WhatsApp me all the time. It's fine. It's +1, you could write it down or put it on your cell phone, 305 206 1916. Yeah. Send these around. Send these around. It has it. Send these around. Because everyone has different needs. There's 3 pages of words: caring, calm, forgiving, generous, happy, emotionally stable, helpful. I want you to look at these words, and I'll send it to you if you just send me a WhatsApp. Interesting.
Can I ask a question?
Bevakasha.
How many days would you suggest to go on, like before knowing that you know, like, is the one? You know, sometimes you feel like in the beginning, but there is like an amount of dating.
Religious girl?
Yeah.
10 to 15.
Okay.
And if it's
15
not,
or 50?
15. No, Hasr Shalom. 15.
I'm not
Okay.
15.
I'm not religious.
Not religious? These people take 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
Makes no sense to me. And I'll show you why it could go so much easier. You understand? Let me explain something. In the religious world, let's say the guy is a yeshiva boy in Lakewood, and now he's going out. He has very clear direction of what he has to accomplish on his date. His dates are very cerebral. They're using the head. That's why tonight I'm teaching you how to date with your head. You don't need 6 months to find out anything about somebody. You don't need 3 months. I'll show you how you can do it in 4 dates. You could find out exactly if the boy is right for you or not. It's all about asking the right questions. I could jump to that now. So, you know, I think I'm going to do that. Yeah. Here's another thing. Let me show you what I did. People ask me, what should I talk about? And I'm a very big believer in communication. This PDF I have forwarded maybe 25,000 times in my life. I created it. It's the 100 questions you need in dating. This is how you get into the kishkiz of a guy or a girl and find out if he's for you or not for you. So if you ask the right questions, you know what you're looking for. For example, I'll read some of the questions to you. Now, this is not an interrogation. You have to be smart. A story, your mother, your father, your work, and then you just throw a question in. Like you say you're talking about, let's say you're an assistant teacher. So you can talk to him about, how would you like to raise your children? Or do you believe in discipline? Or what yeshiva system would you send your kids to? There's ways to ask these questions. Let's go some of these questions right now. What is an accomplishment you're proud of? Great question. Oh, I made money in the stock market. Okay, very nice. But maybe he'll tell you, my father was sick with COVID and I took over his business and I had the responsibility. Whoa, now I'm not liking what I hear. Or I had a bad problem with ka'as, or I was lacking in patience. I worked on that midah. That's an accomplishment for me. I'm interested in that question. It tells me a lot about you. Next, what does it mean for you to be Jewish? Are you proud of that? Does that mean anything to you? 3, what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish in the next 5 years? Big question. No, I want to go surfing in LA. And now you're I don't know if I want you for my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Versus, okay, go to school, or go work in a job, build my business, get married, have children. Next question. What does it take to make you happy in life? Do you need a Rolex? Or are you Yaakov Avinu?
Questions that take the whole day. What makes you happy, and then it goes like questions.
It might be something like, I like playing with my nephews and my nieces. Everyone is going to answer differently. Next. Here's a beautiful question. How have you changed or grown in the last 5 years? Bam! I love that question. If you can't answer that question, I'm not interested in you. I'm learning Musar, I'm a better person, I give tzedakah, I volunteer for Hesed projects. You're talking my language now. Who are your friends? I want to know who your friends are. Tell me about your friends and I'll tell you who you are. And what do you look for in a friend? How long is your best friend your friend? Is it since you were childhood? Now we're building a profile. Let's keep going, right? Where do you live? Who's the rabbi of the shul that you go to? Do you consider yourself a happy person? Not everybody answers yes. What things about yourself are you trying to work on to improve? Do you have a problem with anger? We spoke about that. If you're going through a difficult time in life, who would you go to for advice? Are you organized? Do you do chesed? How would you like your Shabbat table to look in the future? Good question. Do you want Divrei Torah, Pizmonim? Would you take in people that are not religious and show them what it's like? What are you looking for? Now, I don't ask this question on date number 1. What are you looking for in a spouse? This way you see if you match what he's looking for. No? If you have a fight with someone, how do you settle it? Here's another question. You walk into a restaurant and someone embarrasses you in public. What would you do? It's right here. It's all here. How large of a family would you like to have? I had a couple come to me, very, very from religious Ashkenaz. 7 years, they had one child. He refused to allow her to have children. No, didn't want to. I said to him, Shimi, who gave you the heter? You have to go to a posik nida. You can't just decide to put your wife on birth control. You're a smart guy. You went to yeshiva in Israel. He didn't answer me. I said, you gave yourself permission to put your wife on birth control? 6 years? Okay. Would you raise your children the way your parents raised you? Another question. Well, okay, now let's go have some fun. Where do you like to go on vacation? Israel, Florida, Panama, right? What schools did you go to, and what schools would you like to your kids send to? Listen, when you start asking this stuff, these are the questions that we ask. The kind of questions that tells you right away, you're not going to waste time. You know, you're not wasting time. You're going to move very quickly. He's not for me or he's for me, right? Do you like sports? Do you like music? Who's your favorite singer? And on and on. There's many questions, you know. I'll send it to you also. Send me a request for the PDF. Everyone's talking about AI, right? They just did a study. 11,000 couples, AI. They wanted to see if a computer can match people up better than Shadchanim. Right? So a professor in Canada did a study with 86 people helping her. 86 research assistants to see if AI could figure out how to match a boy and a girl up. And what they asked people what they're interested in. So they said someone tall, someone rich, someone with a profession, someone with a sexy name, etc. The computer couldn't answer anything. They could not match anyone up. But the computer came up with the 3 conclusions, but are very interesting conclusions. Number 1, were you happy with life before you met the girl or the boy that you wanted to marry? Number 2, were you free from depression before you met Mr. or Miss Right? And number 3, did you have a positive effect on people? My friends, this is all Torah. That's what Musar is all about. Musar is about growing. Musar is about emotionally healthy. Musar is about impacting our society. What do Jews represent? Tikkun Olam. Our work in this world is to better this world, is to have a good impression, a positive influence on the world. Listen to this story. It's amazing. Rabbi Avram Bahran is a principal of a girls' seminary in Eretz Israel. A guy came to him and he said, I want the most intelligent girl in your school to date her. So the rabbi set him up with some of the smartest girls. And he said, nah, not smart enough. Nah, this one's not smart enough either. None of them are good enough for me. And then he started dating a girl from the rabbi's seminary that was not that smart. She's in the middle. And the man says, wow, she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. He says, the rabbi was like, how could it be? You know, I have 100 people in 100 girls in the class. Maybe she's number 46, 47. What's she doing? So he asks the girl, tell me, when you go on a date, what do you talk about? So she says, listen to this girl. She says, he talks and talks and talks. I tell them, that's so intelligent. That's so amazing. That's so wow. I don't understand what he's talking about, but I compliment him. And the guy went crazy. He was so happy. Then he gets married, and the rabbi sees her 6 months after marriage. How's the marriage? Mitsuyan. Kol beseder. What are you talking about? He keeps talking. I keep telling him. It's amazing. It's fantastic. And the rabbi says, this girl had more emotional intelligence than all the other girls. She picked up on a very important nikuda mirkazit, a central point in life. The guys have fragile egos, and the woman who understands that and plays that card, bam, success. This is one of them, yeah.
I'm just curious, like, if he's really happy with that, like, if she's happy just being the person that has to cheer him up every single day of his life, so he's gonna feel comfortable because of that. And then it sounds like she's making everything to make him feel good about it, but she's not even like understanding everything that he's saying.
She's probably understanding more and more of it. Yeah. They have a very good marriage. You understand something? When you give, you get back automatically. Because she's giving him compliments a lot. Because she's giving compliments a lot. He's going to shower her with joy. Then, my Rebbe taught us, and this is very true, marriage is olam hadimyon. Marriage is the world of fantasy. You come home every day, right? Are you going to tell the person, your spouse, all your problems every day? I teach all of my couples, don't come home and tell the garbage to them every day. They're going to go crazy. How was your day? Okay, Baruch Hashem. Maybe you didn't have such a good day. But you should be the person that transports them to a good place. That's important in marriage. You should be the person who takes them, like they may have had a hard day, but they see you, So there's a bit of, you can't be completely yourself 100% all the time. You have to always have some degree of perception. Dimyon. Okay. Back to our friend John Gray. What should a girl look for? Number one, confidence. The first quality that makes a man attractive to a girl is confidence. When a man is confident, the woman relaxes. When a man is not confident, the woman worries. Because now she has to help him, and she doesn't want to do that all the time. Confidence allows the woman to relax and breathe deeply and enjoy. Confidence does not mean the man is perfect. Doesn't mean he has to have all the answers. Confidence is, I'll get it done. Even if I don't have an answer, I'll figure it out. Even if he doesn't have an answer, a confident man says, I'll find an answer. Number two, a man with a plan. What's your purpose in life? A man with a plan is very attractive to a woman. What's your future goal? What are you doing with yourself? What's your purpose? Women love a guy that has a dream, a vision, a goal. So that's number two. And number three, responsible. That he's responsible. He shows her how responsible with school or with his work. That's key. Now, what does a woman need? One thing. Self-assurance. She feels comfortable with herself. She doesn't have to run after the guy. Self-assurance. Let me explain to you. You have noticed how some women seem to be very confident. Like the man does whatever they tell them to do. How does that woman do it? That man will do whatever she wants. These women are called self-assured. They respect themselves and they automatically assume everyone else will respect them. She feels supported by her friends. When she's not respected, she doesn't take it personally. She says, okay, she moves on. I'll give you an example. I have a client who abused this, who violated this. Such a nice woman in Bet Shemesh. She calls me every week from Bet Shemesh. She's divorced. For 6 months, a guy comes over after Shabbat, shul, to make kiddush for her. And she's dreaming that one day he'll ask her out. He comes over and he makes kiddush and tells her about every girl he's dating. I said, what are you doing? He's not interested in you. Why are you abusing yourself? Get rid of him now. Not only that, I want you to move. She's looking for an apartment in Modi'in right now. 6 months she destroyed her confidence, thinking that he would be interested in her. All he does is come to her to make kiddush and tell her about all the girls he's going out with. I said, does that make you happy? So confidence is you don't run after anyone. You are assured that Hashem will take care of me. Some women have this as a quality that they're born with. But here's good news. You could learn this quality if you don't have this quality. You could develop this quality.
I have a question.
Yes.
I feel like nowadays, men are a little bit afraid of such confident women.
Here in Panama, it's like that.
I feel like they're afraid of to see a woman that knows what she wants, that has a job, that has the studies, whatever. They're afraid of that.
Is she confident or is she arrogant?
No, she's confident. They feel like, how do you say? Intimidated.
Intimidated.
About this.
I mean, confident doesn't mean you don't have to have anava. She's just very clear about what she wants.
Yeah. That's what intimidates them. They want to be very wrong.
Humility. And the guys that she's saying no to clearly are not good for her.
No, they don't even ask.
Exactly, they don't even
Because
approach.
they getting afraid of rejection or
Yeah.
Maybe she's
intimidated.
too much, maybe she's this.
That's
maybe
what
she's
happens here in
that.
Panama. There's a lot of Rolls Royce women. Wow, complete, everything you want. And the boys that are here are
They
She
are
has
afraid.
these, maybe she doesn't, I don't know, it's.
they don't do
It's
it,
not
they don't even try anymore.
I think the young ones that doesn't know about life yet.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
But is that woman, discouraging them?
No.
No, because
They don't even try.
appear
They don't
confident.
try. That's the problem. They don't. They think that it's not possible before, and they don't try at all.
They don't
And
think of
I
you
mean,
as an approachable.
Scar's getting older, so I would say that's one of the most
main
difficult
issue,
parts
yeah.
of dating here in Panama. And we go out.
So the answer to that question is probably a problem you have in Panama, because in the United States, Shatchanim would fix that. I wouldn't be intimidated. I would say, okay, go out with her. But here the guy's calling directly, right?
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Sometimes with a matchmaker. Yeah.
Even with a matchmaker?
Yeah.
Because the matchmaker could say, no, I know her. She looks like she's put together, but she's really nice and she's very sincere and she's easy to talk to. She could break that myth.
I got a friend, she was rejected because she's a daughter of the Rambam. I mean, her
Yeah.
father is not whatever, he's brave, he learns every time, but
No.
the boy didn't want to go out with her because she's the daughter of the Rambam, so maybe
She's very strict.
very the whole day going after him, and if he wakes up for Shach, I don't know what he thinks.
She's going to be his mashkiach.
He didn't get to know her, or
Right.
spoke with her, nothing, just, oh, she's, whatever, no. They're intimidated, that's for sure.
Yeah,
What
it's about that.
She looks good, she's a great girl, she has everything.
They don't even know when they judge.
Well, let's look at it this way. What are you going to do? Instead of being confident, you're going to be a shmata?
No, that's what I'm asking. Like, what we can do? I mean, I don't want to look like I am
Right.
who I am.
Right. That's not the girl's problem. It's,
You're caging. That is the girl's problem.
no. I understand. I blame the rabbis or the mentors that are not putting enough pressure on the boys to get moving. And I'll prove it to you. None of them came.
100%.
So you have a problem here. They're not interested in growing and changing their
They
perception.
go for easy stuff. Like,
Yeah.
No, I'm saying they don't like. I feel like they don't like to confront this kind of like girl.
Confront it.
Confront, yes.
Yes.
It's like the problem is when you take something, they might think that they're dating more simpler girls. But in reality, if you, like,
Lo que es barato sale caro.
when you end up doing more effort in your life for her, because she's not that smart, not that
Right.
good, like whatever it
Yeah,
is,
she has so many
it's
deficiencies.
something more expensive
Right. In the long run.
go with a good girl, like you can actually grow with her, but they don't want.
No, but
Like they're intimidated, so.
I think it's a little bit of having like more control about the girl.
Right.
It's easier to control
Yeah,
someone
Because she's stupid.
that didn't study that much or
Yeah,
didn't do
that's what-
anything. So if it's someone that is independent and already has
Just
a
go
career
to
and wants
school,
something,
doesn't
it's
know anything
harder.
about life.
Sometimes they say, okay, then go out, but we want to live here. Like,
It's ignorance on their behalf. It's total ignorance.
I can confirm from the point of view of men, we are actually intimidated by women that have big ego here in Panama.
But of what?
We don't even approach because too much fire. Just say.
Too much what?
Value.
Too much fire.
Too much fire. Too much fire. Big ego.
I mean, it depends on the woman that you're talking to because, like, they're all at different stages of their lives. You know, some could be 20, 25. It really comes down to that.
Of course. Yeah. The problem is, I hear you. If I had some of the other side, I can hear what's going on.
I
Yeah.
forgot there were men here.
It's fine.
No, but it's good that they're over here because they can give you a point of view probably different than he could understand because they're from here. And these are the guys that probably are intimidated from girls like you. No, it's going to hear them and understand what's going on. And I'm just curious about that. Why do you really feel that you will feel intimidated?
I mean, it makes sense, you know, like, I feel like there's, like, fear of rejection on both ends. There might be slightly more on men, especially because us, like, we have that tendency to approach women.
And if it's a much
And it could be the other way around as well, but
maybe.
it's, like, much more rare.
But if someone say to you like, okay, call this girl and she's interested, you would feel
I
like.
mean, that would give me the reassurance that it will make things, like, significantly easier.
It's interesting. Okay, let's go. People ask me all the time, how do I know if I am dating the person for marriage? So there's a very simple formula called PAIR, P-A-I-R. Let's go one by one. Physical attraction. Physical attraction doesn't mean you have to see stars and bells and whistles go off. Physical attraction can be built, and as we spoke about it, good communication can build physical attraction more. That's why it's important to ask good questions. A, admiration. Do I admire the man or the woman? Do I see qualities in them that I didn't see in other people, that I look up to them? A is also acceptance. Can I accept them for who they are? Let's say they had a medical condition, but now they're healed. Can I accept them? Or For example, I have a guy that I'm helping from Lakewood, New Jersey. He went to 5 high schools. That's been a problem, because the girls wonder, why did he go from high school to high school? Can you accept that? That's important. Emotional intimacy. In order to develop a good relationship, you've got to be able to connect on a deep level. Emotional intimacy means you discuss ideas together, you problem solve together, you look forward to seeing each other. How do you build the emotional intimacy? Number 1, you change what you do on the dates all the time. It's not always dinner, dinner, dinner. One time it's a day date, it's a museum date, it's a paint night, it's a walk in the park, a walk by the ocean, it's a chesed project for the shul. Try to see the boy or girl from different points of view, because you never know which date will turn the engine on. Sometimes there's one interesting date that finally gets the other person to open up. So that's emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy means you're connecting, you're sharing your secrets together, you look forward to solving each other's problems, you pick him up from the airport, he picks you up from the train. These are the things, you care about each other. Now you're very involved in people's lives. And then the last one is R. R is respect. There's no place in dating for lack of derech eretz. If the person doesn't treat you with respect, to us that's a sign that that's not good at all. Let me share an amazing story with you. Ezra, you're going to like this story. Listen to this. It's the Yortzeit of Rahel Imenu. And is a couple of Hasidic guys looking to get a lift back from where she's buried. She's in Bethlehem, no? Yeah, Bethlehem. And they want to go back to Yerushalayim. So Ba'aretz Korim it's tramping. Tramping is to catch a lift, hitchhike. So they get in the back of the car and they're talking in Yiddish, and the driver and his friend are in the front. So they said it's not nice to talk in Yiddish. They start talking in Hebrew. They said, how are we going to make the month? They're in Kolel. Every month, they're just barely making their expenses and surviving. How will we ever find money to buy an apartment? So the driver says, let me tell you my story. I'm happy you talking about your life. I was raised in a home that was Hiloni. My father was a former IDF officer, and he worked for the Israeli television station during the day. At night, to supplement his income, he was the head maitre d' in a wedding hall called Sasson V'Simcha Hall in Yerushalayim. Now, if you've ever been to a simcha in Israel, it's very different than America, or maybe Panama. They bring out a cake for the Hatan and Kala, and there's candles and sparklers all over the cake. And the job of the maitre d' is to light the candles. Sometimes the candles don't light. So in his back pocket, he has a little bottle of oil, fuel oil. And he goes, tach, 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 and the thing lights because the oil allows the candle to light. That night, there was a wedding, and he brings out the big wedding cake, and he tries to light it, and it doesn't light, so he takes out from his pocket the little bottle, and he squirts it with oil, and he lights it, and the cake goes on fire. 2 little girls are playing. They go right in the cake, and one girl's on fire. Everybody is paralyzed. The only smart guy was the photographer. The photographer goes to one table, he pulls the tablecloth, he wraps the girl in the tablecloth, and he's able to contain the fire. But the damage was done. 3-degree burns all over her body. And they rush her to Hadassah Hospital, to the burn unit. He goes with her. This is the man telling the story about his father. He says, my father was from the Golani Brigade. He was as tough as metal. He would never cry. Inside the ambulance, he's crying. What did I do to this girl? It's my fault. I feel so bad. And the parents are telling him, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything. You know, the girl ran into the cake. And he felt so bad. And he went with her to the hospital. And from there, she was transferred to a special burn hospital in Paris. He never heard from her again. She says, I grew up, my father, after this story, decided to think about becoming Choser B'Tshuva, and became Choser B'Tshuva. And he asked us, would you like to join me and become Choser B'Tshuva? And I told my father, that's your life, not mine. Don't force me how to live. So my father didn't force. So I grew up not religious. This story gets very interesting. I went to the Israeli army. I came out of the army. I need a job. So I'm looking in Yediot Acharonot, and I found an opening. There's a man who owns 10 stores in Israel called Mitukim Ze Shelanu. Sweets. He sells candy, chocolate, whatever. I took a job with him. His name was Sharon, and he was also a guy who was Choser B'Tshuva. And he used to come work in the afternoon. He had 10 stores and check his stores, and I was one of his managers. He comes to me one day and he says, you know what, I can't understand, Ata Hiloni. Ava Tishma, Gam hi Hilonit, that girl who's the cashier. Why don't you go out with her? Maybe you guys will connect. So he asked her out and he started dating. And it got good. Now he's getting ready to propose an engagement to her. So he says to her one night, he says, you know what, I never asked you. I know you're not religious. How come you dress like you come from Bnei Brak? You covered up. And she says to him, because I have scars all over my body. What happened? She tells him, I was involved in a fire in a wedding hall. He turns white. Was it Sison V'Simcha Hall? Yeah. Was it 15 years ago? Yeah. My father was the maitre d'. You probably will never want to see me again. He says, no, maybe this is from God. It was meant. We should meet. I want to see your father. I haven't seen him all these years. They went back, and he told his father he's dating this girl. He started to cry. He goes, remember the story? They got married, and they were living in her mother's apartment. After a year, in Ma'ale Adumim. After a year, he says to her, I feel bad. We're, putting too much stress on your mother. Let's go rent our own apartment. I know that the Kalkali, our economic status is not that great, but we'll find something. She says, Al tidag. After I had the accident, my parents sued the wedding hall. The insurance gave them 5 million shekels. They bought me an apartment, 4-bedroom in Rehavia on King George. That's Park Avenue. It's waiting for me. And they moved in. So the man tells the people in the back, you're worried about apartments? Don't worry. The Bono Shel Olam has you covered. Emunah. Let me close with this story. A family in the Ukraine, poor family, was living in their house, and there's a knock on the door. Man opens the door, the husband, and there's 5 men outside. Says, who are you? Hi, my name is Emunah. His name is Beracha. His name is Simcha. His name is Ashirut. And his name is Biriut. I'll explain. My name is Emunah, faith. His name is blessing. His name is happiness. His name is health. And his name is wealth. So I could do for you. Well, you can choose any one of us. Who would you like to invite? You're only allowed to invite one of us. He says, I can't answer that question right now. Let me talk to my wife and my children, and I'll come back to you. So he goes and has a conference with his wife and his children, and he comes back and he says, I'll take Emunah. So Emunah walks in, he goes, okay guys, come with me. So he says, what happened? He goes, if you chose anyone else, you'd only gotten one. Because you chose Emunah, you get it all. So most importantly, we spoke tonight about your hishtadlut. But remember, the most important hishtadlut is your davening. And I want to tell you something that has saved me the last 16 years of my life. The biggest part of emunah is todah v'hoda'ah. After my Rebbe passed away, I was in Israel 2006. I got a copy of the Garden of Emunah in Hebrew. I couldn't put it down. I was living in Miami, and I was fascinated with this book. I had 4 of them in every floor of my house, so I could always read that book. And what I learned from that book is how important gratitude is for your requests from Hashem. So whenever you want something from Hashem, first of all, start your day. Say, if you pray Shahrit, beautiful, and then have a gratitude session with Hashem. I don't have it here, but there's something called a Todah card. I have it. I could probably make copies. Yeah, you know what? Give me a second. I want to tell you something. It has saved my life. I have maybe 10 Batei Knesiyot that are 2 minutes away from my house. I walk a half hour in each direction every day to go to shul so I could talk to Hashem and thank Him for everything. Gratitude opens doors. Gratitude says to Hashem, you're the boss. Why does gratitude work? Because when regular tefillot are offered, there are black angels that sometimes stop those tefillot. Gratitude is your personal expression to Hashem that goes right around it. And that's why it's important. When you have a problem in your life, it's not going for you, you say thank you for the problem. And watch how fast you're going to get an answer. It's very important. Yeah, so I think one of the most important things, I don't know if I could find it, but I have to look for it. It's a gratitude card. Again, if you want it, I'll send it to you as a WhatsApp. Gratitude to Hashem is one of the fastest ways to see a Yeshua in your life. I have seen it thousands of times with people. When you take a problem you have and you say, thank you for the problem, you're saying, Hashem, you're behind it. The reason why I have the problem is you want my attention. You got my attention now because I'm saying thank you for it. Because in davara ba'olam, there's no evil in the world. So the most important thing is to take your situation and say thank you for it. And that's how you can get out of it. So I want to thank you today for coming. We're going to get this on YouTube. You should review this shiur. Again, if you have any questions or need my help in any way, feel free to send me a WhatsApp. I'm happy to help you. Thank you. Have a good night.